don't know what it is, but I have this really strong desire to roll into the frame on some kind of wheelie chair, but I don't own one, so I guess I'm just gonna sit here like some kind of weirdo. I've been working on a commission all week, and I'm really excited to share the painting with you and also show you the process of how it got made, and also talk about commissions a little bit because they are my bread and butter, as I think they are for a lot of artists, but they're also something that can be really frustrating and something I've been known to complain about in the past. I just counted this morning and I've done 21 commissions this year. And I think in the process of doing that many of them, I've had a chance to think a lot about commissions and how I approach them, and also make some changes in my attitude towards them that has turned them from the bane of my existence into something that I actually really look forward to and enjoy working on now. Let's get right into it. Commissions are a really important part of my business, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of artists. If I'm painting something just for myself, there's no guarantee that anyone's gonna buy it when it's finished. And as someone who's doing this full time, I do rely on selling paintings as one of the main ways of supporting myself. So that's kind of a scary thing when you're spending hours or weeks working on something and then ultimately not making any money off of it. So commissions are a great way to kind of counteract that, because it's something that's a guaranteed project that you know you're gonna get paid for. And it's also honestly a great way for people to buy paintings that they really want. When I'm doing commissions, I really try and personalize the paintings and make sure that their input is part of the final product. And I think that helps create something that they feel more connected to and genuinely love. And that's really important to me. The commission I just finished is a really great example of this. Somebody came to me a few weeks ago and asked if they could buy a painting that I had painted earlier this year, but it had already sold. So I suggested we do a commission instead and use that painting that they liked as a source of inspiration, but then also personalize it and create something new that was specifically connected to them and what they liked. And they ended up really liking that idea, so we went for it. And if I wasn't doing commissions, that person probably wouldn't have ended up buying a painting from me, which means I would have lost a customer, and they also would have lost out on the chance to own a painting that was personal and meaningful to them. So it's definitely a win-win. That being said, commissions can also be really frustrating. And this is something that I felt especially when I was first starting to paint full-time, because I was so excited by the freedom of being able to do what I wanted every day and do this thing that I loved and make money doing it, that as soon as I had projects come up that were not what I had chosen, but rather what somebody was asking me to do, I felt really constricted. And I felt like my creativity was kind of hampered in a way. And this is also maybe just a result of me not having a great relationship with authority and not liking when people tell me what to do. But there is something that I think is inherently frustrating about working on a project that isn't 100% yours when the product you're creating is your creative output. And I think for me, my art is very personal to me. It's something that I put a lot of time and care into. And so if I feel like other people are having an influence over it, it can make me feel less motivated or less interested in whatever project I'm working on. Especially if people have ideas about composition and color and detail and even the style of the painting. That can start to feel like it's taking away from my creativity, which is ultimately what I would hope people are interested in buying and supporting. It can also start to feel like a burden if it's all you're doing. And that was something that happened to me at one point this year where I spent about 2 or 3 months only doing commissions. I had had a bunch of requests for commissions, but I was busy working on other projects at the time, so I put them off, and then as soon as I did have some free time, I ended up just trying to knock them all out one after the other, and it ended up really draining me and making me kind of sick of it in a way. But having done so many of them this year, I think I've now been able to refine the system that I have for approaching them and also change the attitude that I have towards commissions and just make a few small changes that have ended up really benefiting me a lot as someone who likes to be excited and challenged by the paintings I'm working on, but have also still allowed me to offer commissions to people and make sure that I'm creating work I really care about when I do take them on. I think the biggest thing I've been learning is just to not say yes to everything. It's really easy to fall into that trap, especially when you're starting out. And I know that I used to say yes to literally any project that came my way. I still say yes to almost everything, but I am a little bit more selective now. And the problem with that is that you end up sometimes getting into situations where you're working on something that either you're not comfortable working on or something you're not interested in working on. And for me anyway, when I end up doing those projects, what tends to happen is that the final product feels less cared for. Like you can tell that I didn't actually want to be doing it when you look at the painting because it doesn't have that same level of attention to detail or thought that's put into it. And then everybody loses in that situation. It's also a matter of saying no when you don't have time. And this is something that I'm getting better at as well, or trying to get better at anyway, which is making sure that I don't overexert myself or agree to too many things at once. And I think it's sometimes easy when you want the opportunity and you want to make money and also, have a chance to paint as much as possible, to just say yes to everything all the time. And then all of a sudden you have 15 projects on your plate and people are expecting paintings and you can't get them done in time. And then that makes the process really, really stressful as well. And it seems like a simple thing, but honestly, the process of learning when to say no and when to say yes is something that doesn't always come easily, especially when you're trying to build a sustainable business out of a creative pursuit and you feel like you have to agree to every opportunity that comes to your door. But in learning how to do that, I do feel like I've eliminated a lot of that frustration that I felt with commissions at the beginning, because if I'm not invested in the idea or I don't feel comfortable doing it, I just don't take it on anymore. I think another thing that's really helped me is scheduling and organization. I now make a conscious effort to plan out blocks of time when I can work on commissions. So for example, right now I have 1 week out of every month already scheduled to work on a potential commission. And it's a really nice way to kind of spread out the commissions you're working on and make sure you don't get commission burnout, in the sense that you have space between each one that you're working on. But it also still allows you to offer that to people. And it also allows you to ultimately enjoy working on them a little bit more. This has definitely been the case for me the past few months because I'm not doing commissions as frequently. What ends up happening is that a lot of the times people will ask for a commission based off of a style of painting I've done in the past or a specific painting I've done in the past, and I get to revisit that. And it's almost a break from whatever I'm working on currently, and it can also inspire me or remind me of a certain technique I was using 6 months ago that I kind of forgot about, or sometimes totally change the way that I'm thinking about a project that I'm working on outside of that commission. And so something as small as just organizing my time better and blocking out specific times to do commissions has really helped me enjoy them a lot more. But there have also been times when I didn't have the luxury of being able to say no to an opportunity or to schedule a commission several months in advance because I really needed the money. And there was a time when I used to look at that and think, okay, this is just a natural part of painting full time, in the sense that sometimes I'm gonna have to work on projects I don't wanna work on, which is, something to come to terms with and something that's important to recognize. But I'm also the kind of person who would rather enjoy what I'm doing and find a way to make it positive, even if it's not my first choice. So I've been working a lot on trying to find a way to do that. And I think the biggest thing that I've been able to discover is just how to shift my attitude towards commissions and the way that I view them. It's all about perspective. And I think I used to see commissions as kind of like a necessary evil, in the sense that if I had a choice, I would never do them at all. I would just paint whatever I wanted to paint all the time. The problem with that kind of attitude was that every time I did do a commission, or there were periods of time when I was working on a commission because I felt like I had to, I disliked that experience and it felt like an obligation. And then ultimately the painting itself didn't turn out as good, or I wasn't as happy with it at least because I didn't enjoy the process. And I've had a shift in perspective about it. Someone asking for a commission is actually a huge compliment. It means that they like my work enough to want to buy something, and then on top of that, also trust me enough to not see what they're buying until after it's finished. And that's a huge honor. And the more I try to see it as a validation of what I do and a sign that my painting brings some kind of value to others instead of just myself, the more I look forward to commissions and feel grateful that I'm lucky enough to have people requesting them as often as they are. I guess it's all about remembering to appreciate the position I'm in and realize that I get to paint every single day and also make money doing it, and that's really exciting. And commissions are part of the reason that that's possible. I sometimes lose sight of that because I'm so lost in it and I'm just so busy with kind of the mundane day-to-day existence of doing this full time that I don't have that perspective. But it is important to remember, and it's also good for me to realize that doing these commissions is not only a way for me to support myself, but it's also a way for me to connect with people and create paintings that are personal and meaningful. And that's really rewarding. If you'd like to help me keep making these videos and keep making art, you can support me on Patreon, where I post sketches, progress photos, sneak peeks of new work, host live streams, offer discounts on paintings, and more.